कि इस वक्त इस टाइम पे हम हाइपोथेटिकली मान लेते हैं कि हमारे पास दिल्ली के इस सिनेरियो में 10 आर्ट क्रिटिक एक्टिव हैं, 20 मान लेते हैं। वो सब अलग अलग, उनका कोई कांटेक्ट नंबर आर्टिस्ट के पास है नहीं। उनका एक फोरम होना चाहिए और एक ऐसा ईमेल हर आर्टिस्ट को पता होना चाहिए एक इन जनरल, वो अपना काम डिस्प्ले करने से पहले क्यों ना भेजें वहाँ पे।
So for example, I'm an artist in early 30s and I do experimental art and I don't showcase in, mainstream white cube galleries. How do I, approach the contemporary art critics to interact with my work through their writings or
make human contacts, human connections? You have to talk to people and also you have to educate further. Into whichever area you are working on
and find out and figure out the best resources to
before you approach anybody. I think you should
के बीच में बुलाना चाहते हैं श्री जॉनी एम को। जॉनी एम जी प्लीज मंच पर आए और हम शुरू करते हैं उनसे बातचीत। लेकिन पहले रेनू मैम से मेरा विनम्र निवेदन है कि प्लीज मंच पर आए और जॉनी सर का फूलों से स्वागत करें। जॉनी सर आज पहचान उनकी बताना मेरे को लगता है उचित नहीं है, क्योंकि पहचान के मोहताज नहीं है। वो बहुत बड़े आर्ट क्रिटिक, आर्ट हिस्टोरियन, एडिटर और ना जाने क्या क्या। आप अपने आप गूगल पे सर्च कर चुके हैं ऑलरेडी। एक छोटा सा सिंबॉलिक वस्त्र। थैंक यू सर, थैंक यू जॉनी सर। और अब ये मंच आपका है और हम सुनेंगे आपको।
First of all, thank you very much, Ashwani. And you all know Ashwani has been doing a great job. When he started Delhi Collage of Art, many people were skeptical, fingers crossed. Many people were feeling it funny, and we know that we Indians are very cynical. And most of the people thought that will, in the long run, it will wither away. That institution won't work. But he has proved single-handedly that an institution like this is possible. Also this year, this Art Carnival, Delhi College of Art, Art Carnival has opened up spaces for people like us, art critics, curators, art historians, to come and meet you and say a few words, share our experiences with you. Ashwani told me that I should talk about my 30 years of experience in the art criticism field. Then I thought, as an art critic, I was not alone. It is not a single-handed job that as a person, as an individual, Johny M or X or Y, Suni Chopra or whoever, he or she can go write about art, talk to the artist and change the scenario. I found that was impossible, that is still impossible. So I thought, this 30 years, I will bring who all made this scene possible, the art criticism scene possible in Delhi. So maybe it unspools through my life. A person coming from Kerala, studying in Baroda, coming with a woman, with a girl, almost without anybody in Delhi. No friend, no place to stay, no people to fall back on. We came and today we can say that we have made it. Anyway, a brief history of art criticism scene in Delhi, the story of 3 decades. So this is the question generally we ask: why art criticism? Why art criticism? People say that art is universal language. Anybody can understand. You don't need anybody to tell you that what exactly this artist painted and exhibited here. And you know whose work is this? Yeah, most of you know Jackson Pollock. But there are many other people who don't know that this is a work by Jackson Pollock. And also, they don't know why this artist has done something like this. If you have studied Jackson Pollock, you know very well that he spreads the canvas down on the floor, throws the paint, use whatever he has, like maybe chadu, like there's a broom, and he will make this kind of things. So what has made him to do, or what had made him to do such kind of work? So there comes the role of art criticism. Somebody has to mediate. Somebody has to tell that art criticism, or through art criticism, this particular work of art, this particular painting speaks of something beyond what you see. Next. An unexamined life is not worth living. Socrates, the Greek philosopher. And why unexamined life? If you are not questioning your own life, if you are not looking into your life, that life is not worth living. You are as good as an animal if you are not examining your life, if you are not criticizing your life. So criticism is very much needed. Next one. Yeah. And this statement, many other poets like Percy Shelley, P.B. Shelley, he has said that uncriticized life is not worth living. If you are not criticizing your own life, that means if you are not criticizing your own art, that is not worthy enough to be called this thing, what you call a work of art. And this is, most of the people know, this is Picasso, and the movement of Cubism, and you may not know this. You are more familiar, you are more, you can identify more with this particular work. Maybe many people are not doing this kind of work. This is a painting by Picasso and his girlfriend Dora Maar. She was also an artist, but somehow Picasso actually put his pressure on, and she didn't take off. Berthe Morisot, Mary Cassatt. There are so many women artists who became the concubines of male artists. Because they were women, nobody was there to help them. No critic was talking about them. Anyway, this is a cubist painting. This is done by an artist from Mumbai, Shashikant Dhotre. And he is very famous in Instagram and in YouTube, whatever you call social media. So this is done by colored pencil on paper. So what makes these two portraits different? You need someone to tell you. Not everybody knows the difference between these two paintings, but there somebody is needed. So you need an art critic there, or somebody who. Now I will tell you a story, a small little story. One 6-year-old, 7-year-old boy, he was contesting in a painting competition in a school, and he got the first prize. So this was the prize giving ceremony. The school teacher, Panchayat president, headmaster, parents, all these people started telling about the painting this child has done. They were saying, "Kitna acha painting banaya hai. Ek आदिवासी लड़का गन्ना खा रहा है." So सब लोग आदिवासी लड़का गन्ना खा रहा है. An आदिवासी boy was eating sugar cane. So everybody praised him, and finally he came on the stage, very humbly, very politely received the award, and then he was given the mic and he was asked to say a few words. Then he said, I am very happy to get this award. लेकिन मेरे को समझ में नहीं आ रहा है, सब लोग गन्ने खाने वाला आदिवासी लड़के के बारे में बात कर रहा है. मैं एक्चुअली फ्लूट बजाने वाला कृष्ण को बनाया था. सो यू अंडरस्टैंड, फ्लूट बजाने वाला कृष्ण को बनाया, लेकिन the teachers, the jurists, the jury members, everybody thought that he was a ganna eating boy. So that's a confusion. So suppose a child need not necessarily be having such a skill to show Krishna as Krishna. He may be thinking. Recently in social media, one thing was moving around. A school teacher was astonished, and actually she was scandalized when she saw a student. Though log, I say, what do you call? They are hanging from rope, noose. And she was just asking the children to, after they came from vacation, he was asking them to make some picture. So this boy made this two people hanging from noose. Naturally, she called the teacher, called the parents. आप जल्दी आ जाना, आपके घर में क्या चल रहा है? आपके घर में ऐसा कुछ बुरा चल रहा है कि तो आपस झगड़ा, सुसाइड के बाद कुछ चल रहा है? So they came, they saw the painting, they saw the picture. Oh, then they realized ये दोनों स्कूबा डाइविंग के लिए गया था लास्ट वेकेशन में. तो ये स्कूबा डाइविंग एक्चुअली वो बच्चा ये सब लगा के पेंट किया था, लेकिन इट वाज नॉट लुकिंग लाइक स्कूबा डाइविंग. सो इट ऑल डिपेंड्स ऑन the person who sees it. So total misinterpretation is possible when you see a work of art. Next one. So now this is Vincent van Gogh. Van Gogh bandaged ear, and there is a reason for it. An art critic is needed to tell you that or an art historian is needed to tell you that there is a reason for him to cut this ear. Normally people say that like he was so much mad in love with someone, some woman, so he cut his ear. Later on the studies say that like there is a scientific reason. He had some issue with his ear. He used to hear this howling sound. Sound. I mean, he was always listening, so he had to cut it. Like he was mad enough to do that. Next one. So there are reasons for making art. Sometimes you need biographical details. Van Gogh का painting समझने के लिए you have to understand the biographical details of the artist. Here Salvador Dali. Sometimes you need psychoanalytical studies. You need to read a little bit of Freudian theories, a little bit of Jungian theories. So then you understand Salvador Dali's paintings, why they are like this surrealist paintings. Next. So here the boots. Vincent van Gogh painted these boots. So whose boot? Whose boot is this? There is a famous study by Martin Heidegger, the German philosopher. He concluded that this is by a laborer. There's somebody working in a mine or some place. So it is not just a well painted pair of boots, but these are the boots of a laborer. So you need someone. So there are reasons like sociological reasons, psychoanalytical reasons, biographical reasons, Marxian reasons to analyze and explain this art to someone. So you need art criticism. Next. John Berger, the British theoretician and writer and art critic, he has done a BBC film series, and which later on became a book called Ways of Seeing. So in that, he explains how to look at a work of art. So how to look at a work of art. So you can see hundreds of works here. So each work has got some reason to be there. There is a reason behind each work. You think that like somebody has painted this very realistically. So if you think about the realism or naturalism in art, you have to go behind. And who is going to go behind and to tell you this thing? That is where the art critic comes in. That is where people like me and many other people come in. So now, see, if you know this painting, Edouard Manet, late 19th century Impressionism, luncheon at the grass, lunch at the grass, like they are having lunch. So this painting created a lot of problems at that time itself, because they thought that they know these women, because they were the sex workers of the time, and it was against the modesty of the polite society or the gentle society of the time. But here, now, after many years, when feminist critics, feminist critics look at this painting, they ask this question, and we also ask such questions when they asked this question, why these men are clothed, they are in this three-piece suit, and why these women are nude, why they are not wearing clothes. We also ask the same questions, especially when we see the song dance sequences of Shammi Kapoor and these people dancing in in Kashmir in 0 degrees Celsius. They are wearing hundreds of jackets, and the woman, the heroine, is only wearing a small little sari or something like that. So we ask that why. So you need to commodify the body of women. So this also, a feminist critic may see why this woman is being made into an object or a consumable object, an object to be looked at. So this kind of criticism, who is going to tell you? Otherwise they say that, oh, this is Luncheon at Grass by Edward Manet. Next. So this is slightly, now I come to a small little biographical detail. In the early 90s, after my education in Baroda, MA Art History and Criticism, myself and Mrinal Kulkarni, now my wife, we came by a train and we reached that place, Faridabad. We didn't know that. I mean, for me, it was a kind of first time experience coming to North. I have reached up to Gujarat. Then later on, I was traveling to Delhi. So there, the first thing came to my mind, came to my eyes was this: Gupt Rogi Mile. This was the first visual. I mean, my impression about even today, after 30 years living in Delhi, even today, when I think of Delhi, it is not about Connaught Place, it is not about India Gate, it is not Delhi Academy, NGMA, paintings, Emma Hussain. No, nothing. I think about Gupt Rogi Mile. So this is an impression. This is an impression about the city that gives you and actually created a template, you know, like a preamble to the experiences that you are going to have in the coming days. I came here as an art critic. I wanted to live like an art critic. I didn't want to do any job, but I started off in Delhi Academy, in College of Art. I was teaching, I don't know whether I taught these two, but I was teaching at that time as a young, art history teacher or something like that. Anyway, so this was my Delhi experience first time. Yeah. Next. Yeah. So this was me and Mrinal looked like, maybe after coming to Delhi after a couple of years, we were looking like somewhat like this. You can understand that this slightly baggy pant and loose shirt because that we were thin, So this is you can see that there is some kind of a anxiety, not sure about the future. Our eyes reflect actually that thing. So we were like this, and then we came first here. Somebody had told us that you go and meet someone in Delhi Academy. They will help you to find out a place to stay. And we stayed in National School of Drama. There is a guest house just behind it, and we stayed there for a week. Next. Then we used to come to Delhi Academy library every day. We didn't have any place to go. We all used to come to this place because we didn't have any WhatsApp. We didn't have any mobile phone because there was no mobile phone at that time. We didn't have any reason. We didn't have any means to contact each other. We only had our willpower, our hopes, our dreams, and also this telepathic understanding that by 5 o'clock everyone will come. Everyone, invariably, every artist in the city will come to this premise, and in that rundown canteen we will go and sit there, have many cups of tea, smoke. This was the kind of life an art critic actually started with. And this was the Delhi. The Delhi that you see today is not the Delhi we faced in early 90s. We had red line buses and blue line buses. 1 rupee, we were staying in Lakshmi Nagar. 1 rupee, from Lakshmi Nagar, a blue line will bring us to Mandi House, and we will go to the library and we read. So next. So this is the first art critic or art historian we were told that very important. In definitely in Baroda itself, we knew that there is a person called Geeta Kapoor. We should go and meet her. We went and met her, and she gave us some kind of directions. Maybe in my young age at that time, I thought that she was asking, Geeta Kapoor was asking me or my Mrinal to be their disciple, as in like their school of thinking. We should follow them in their school of thinking. Somehow we didn't do. Anyway, she was the one. This is one work, one pivotal book, When Was Modernism by Geeta Kapoor. We all read it. Next. This is Keshav Malik. When we came, Keshav Malik was the person, he was everywhere. He was such a benevolent art critic. People from Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, interior, Bihar, Uttar Pradesh, and all these places will come, and they will book the gallery here, and they come to Delhi thinking that Keshav Malik will write a few lines in their brochure. They will get it printed. If Keshav Malik writes something, it is like blessing. You will become an artist in future. So everybody used to go. Keshav Malik was such a nice person, benevolent person. When he looks at the works, if he didn't feel anything, उनका माइंड अगर रेस्पॉन्ड नहीं किया तो फिर भी कुछ पोएम्स लिख के दे देंगे, जाओ तो तुम्हारा ब्रोशर ये पोएम के साथ अच्छा रहेगा, ऐसा करके. लाइक सो नाउ आफ्टर केशव मलिक when he died, art consult Siddhartha Tagore published this book, all his writings collected into one book, a critic's view. So maybe like in future you can refer to this. Next. Even before we came here, like at that time young people came here, there was Richard Bartholomew. He was the secretary of Lilith Kala Academy. He was a photographer as well, and he used to write. There is a story about Richard Bartholomew. Richard Bartholomew used to stay with a very senior artist of that time, like A. Ramachandran, Krishan Khanna, Paramjit Singh, Jatin Das, all these people. He will have some drinks and he will have dinner with them. So next day is the opening, maybe in Kumar Gallery or some place. And on the day after the opening, in one of the newspapers, there will be a critical writing by Richard Bartholomew, completely trashing the work of this artist. From his house, he had drinks, food, everything. But that didn't stop him from writing the critical thing. So they used to think that अरे यार हमारे साथ खाना खा के like हमारे बारे में गलत लिख रहा है. So people used to feel bad about it. But he was maybe like a person like me is molded more like him than because somebody giving me a party doesn't mean that like I should write good things about them. It is not nothing about. So this is the work collected, Richard Bartholomew's writings collected, which is called A Critic's Eye. You can refer. It is published by Pablo Bartholomew, his son, a photography artist. Next. Another is, actually for us, a platform was created by Sadananda Menon. Sadananda Menon was editing Economic Times culture page, and he was the one created a full page for. Today we don't have, even in Hindustan Times or Times of India, we don't have any art page. Particularly, there is no art page. But Sadananda Menon in early 90s created one full page of Economic Times for art, exclusively for art. Next. Ranjit Hoskote, living in Mumbai, he used to write in this Economic Times. So art criticism started getting a wider platform in terms of a size of the newspaper. Next. Then I couldn't. So see, look at the tragedy. Santo Datta, one of the senior most critics, he passed away. And when I googled for his picture, I couldn't find his picture in Google. So that means an art critic lived here. He worked, he spent his whole life looking at the works, talking to the artist, interpreting it for the wider readership, and finally he died. and nobody is there to remember him. There is not a single photograph of this person who existed on this earth and wrote for us. So it is almost, and there is a saying, the previous one, there is a saying by A. Ramachandran used to tell me, senior artist who passed away recently, he used to tell me that Shantodatta attends a show in Kumar Gallery or Dhumi Mall, and he goes back the same night, he goes back to Pioneer's office or Times of India, whichever office he was working, he right there itself. Today you talk about much about Jerry Saltz, the American art critic, who claims that he never attends parties because he, after seeing the works on an opening of an exhibition, he rushes back to his workspace and write for the next day. But here, much before Jerry Saltz, we had Shantodatta who did the same thing, but nobody talks about him. Anyway, next. There was another person, Krishna Chaitanya or KK Nair. He was a scholar. He used to write, and everybody wanted KK Nair to visit the show and write something, about them. So he was a big guy in the art criticism at that time. This is KB Goyal, another person who used to write, but nobody talks about him anymore. So if I project my own life in future, like suppose I live and work for 40 years for Indian art scene, and once I am dead and gone, nobody talks about me. It's like, it's a huge injustice being done to me, I feel. So now, next. Sunil Chopra. So Sunil Chopra's art criticism, he had one column called the Chisel Talk in Hindustan Times. Every week on Wednesday or Sunday, there used to appear this Chisel Talk, where he almost mentions the name of those artists who exhibit in the smaller galleries. You have to see, because he was a communist, he used to work with the farmers organization and all. And there is a saying about Sunil Chopra, agar painting mein red color hai to wo acha painting hai, because he was communist. That's a joke about him. So Sunil Chopra used to mention, like he never he doesn't hail or he doesn't celebrate those big artists exhibiting in say Vadera or mainstream galleries like that. Instead, he used to find the small artists with their humble works showing in humble small galleries. Next, another lady is Shubhra Majumdar. She used to write about the Delhi art scene. So why I am saying about these people, because these are the people who created the ground for people like us 30 years back. M. Ramachandran, again, he is from Kerala, almost took the same route as me. Like he went to Baroda, then came to JNU, and he did MPhil in linguistics, and he was also working in Lalit Kala Academy as a program secretary. And Ramachandran had a big column, half-page column in Statesman, which was called the Culture Vulture, and he used to cover, like when you have a column, when you have a space, car will come to your home to pick you up and take you there, because you know that is the only way to get publicity. But when you don't have a column, the very same galleries will not even invite you to the parties. So this is a kind of thankless job to a certain extent. Later on, this is Uma Nair. Perhaps all of you know that she is very active. She's an English teacher by his profession, but her passion is for art, and she used to write. She even still today, she writes a lot of articles, catalog essays. She curates shows, etc., etc. Next. Gayatri Sinha, she started off writing about M.F. Hussain, the senior progressive artist and all. She became one of the mainstream critics of the time. Next. Yashodhara Dalmia, she has written about Raza, she has written about Susa, she has written about Amrita Shergill. So, and also there is a huge volume on Indian modernism. So these are the people contributed very significantly for the Indian art criticism. For any young artist sitting here, that artist has a responsibility to pay their tribute or indebtedness to all these people, because they have created this field. By writing continuously about art, they have created a field for you to exhibit comfortably, so that people will not, if you paint a nude, people will not come and attack you, because they have created that nude, created that idea in the society that nude is also a part of the art practice. Next. Ella Datta, another artist who has written extensively on Ramachandran like artist. Kishore Singh used to write in Business Standard, Economic Times and all, but he now totally devote his time to time for the works of Delhi Art Gallery. He has written a lot of books about Delhi Art Gallery artists. This is, I am actually bringing a few people before you. They are not art critics per se, they are journalists. Santuna Bhattacharya is the editor of the New Indian Express. To write a lot about art at that time. So in 90s, Santuna Bhattacharya used to write about art. Next. Shailaja Tripathi, a young art critic, in the sense like now she must be in her 40s or something like that. She used to write extensive analysis, journalistic pieces, but extensive analysis in Hindu. In the newspaper Hindu about art, exclusively about art. Next. S. Kalidas, you know him in a different context. He is the son of J. Swaminathan, senior artist, famous artist J. Swaminathan. He used to write a lot of articles in India Today, like magazines, Outlook, India Today and all. Very erudite, very scholarly articles. Next. Ranjini Rajagopal, she was working with the Indian Express, but her photograph is not available. In a mysterious circumstances, she passed away. So nothing is heard about her. She used to write a lot about the young artists of that time. Next. Ratnottama Sengupta was working with the Times of India at that time. She used to write again. She wrote a lot about the young artists of the time. Next. Nirupama Dutt worked with the Indian Express. Now she is an independent poet and writer, biographer. She also used to write. Why? I mean, we are supposed to actually show our grace and the thankfulness to these people, because they wrote about the young people. Many. Next. Madhu Jain, who wrote extensively about Vishwanathan, Sousa, Raza and all. Next. You know, in Hindi, though these are the previous ones were writing in English. This is Vinod Bharadwaj. Now even today he writes about the progressives. He makes documentaries. Next. Prayag Shukla, you all know that, like, he writes a lot about the seniors and youngsters as well. And this is me. Next. I started my columns in Hindu Business Line. That was from the Hindu group, not the way we understand Hindu today, but the Hindu group Business Line. Every week I had a column, and I used to write very critical pieces in the sense I never used to say that this particular artwork is good, but I used to say that why they are not good, and I earned a lot of bad name for that. Even in this same place, some artists have told me that I will be put into the jail, or police will arrest me, or they will file cases against me and all. So art criticism is not soothsaying. You don't say that like good things about that this is a great artist. So I never gave this false hope to any artist. I said what is wrong with this artist, what is historically wrong, what is contextually wrong, what is aesthetically wrong with this artist. Next. And I started a blog in 2008 when all the newspapers cut down the spaces for art criticism. When internet came, I started a blog, and Kerala Ladith Academy published a selected around 22 articles from my blog, and this book is available in Amazon. By all means necessary. By all means necessary is the name of my blog. Next. That is Mrinal. Mrinal, you saw her earlier. Like, she is my wife, and she is also an independent art critic, and now she teaches in Jamia. She's a professor there. Next. This is Georgina Maddox. Maybe you all know that she writes. Next. Rosalind DiMello. During the boom time, that means like from 2004 to 2012, this lady was very active, and she used to write for even about the high-end artists, not from about the so-called low-end artists, but she used to write only about the high-end artists in the national and international magazines. Vandana Kalra, maybe this, I don't know this person. I know a name. I know her as a name. Vandana Kalra. You also must be familiar. She writes regularly about art in Indian Express. So she also extensively writes about art. Then next. This is Shankar Tripathi, one very young person who got the Incept Award for. So I look forward to this young person or people like him to carry forward the art criticism scene which has been generated by other people. Next. Now I come to a sort of conclusion. I ask this question. There is a difference. I make this statement. There is a difference between art criticism and art writing. All the art writers are not art critics. So this is one claim or one statement which I want to make, because we have a lot of people claiming themselves to be art critics. You can see a lot of people writing in social media, writing in blogs and things like that, but they are art writers. There is a fundamental difference between an art writer and an art critic. An art critic is a learned, studied, academically qualified person. That doesn't mean that if you don't have academic qualification, you should not become an art critic. You can become an art critic provided you learn the ropes, you study art history well, you go through the rigor of training yourself into writing about art, and also not just soothsaying, not always saying that this art is good, this art is very good, he or she is like Picasso, like whatever. But art writers, we have to have art writers. I am not looking down upon art writers. We need art writers because they are like honeybees, taking the pollens from one flower to another, taking the ideas from one place to another. We need art writers to talk about the artist, to write about the artist, to say good things about their works. For example, somebody writing about this project by Ashwani's school. This is very important, very important to write about it. But that doesn't mean that like you have to go around and say that the display is not good or the artists are not that high enough. They are not expressing the high art. You can't say that. We need art writers, but art writers should have the storytelling capacity. They should be good storytellers. They should take the story out of the artist, out of the works, out of the art, and spread it around through their whichever medium. But art critics have a higher responsibility, an added responsibility, higher in the sense that it is not like a social hierarchy, but it is a kind of an added responsibility that it should be art historically informed, critically severe and precise, and they should also place the artist in his or her time. Next. Yeah, that's it. I mean, that is how things should be. Thank you. We can have, agar chahiye to like we can have a question answer like if something else.
So, सर बहुत ही अमेजिंग सेशन था ये, और मैं भी कुछ नए आर्ट क्रिटिक लोगों को देख पाया, और दो चार और भी मैं एक्सपेक्ट कर रहा था, बट इतने टाइम में सबको इस तरह से करना आसान नहीं है. बट केशव मलिक सर के साथ या सुनील चोपड़ा जी के साथ हम काफ़ी कनेक्टेड हैं. केशव मलिक सर को हम लोगों ने लाइफ टाइम अचीवमेंट अवार्ड दिया था, तो बड़ा अच्छा लगा था. वो बहुत ही सरल नेचर के हैं, तो काफ़ी लोगों के साथ हम कनेक्टेड थे. तो अब हम लोग एक क्वेश्चन आंसर राउंड ले लेते हैं, और अगर आपको ये जानना है या पूछना है कि बेसिकली जब आप एग्जीबिशंस करते हैं तो फिर न्यूज़पेपर में या मैगजीन्स में जो राइटअप आते हैं, है ना, या आर्ट क्रिटिक जब आपके बारे में सोचेगा तो उसको लेकर आपके मन में जो प्रश्न है वो आप पूछ सकते हैं। जी, आप में से कोई प्रश्न है किसी के पास आर्ट क्रिटिसिज्म को लेके, आर्ट क्रिटिक को लेके, आर्ट एप्रिसिएशन को लेके?
So on behalf of students, let me ask a question, then maybe it will come up, more thoughts. So for example, I'm an artist in early 30s and I do experimental art, and I don't showcase in, mainstream white cube galleries. So how do I, approach the contemporary art critiques to interact with my work through their writings, or, so how do I approach? I mean, is there any way I can reach out to them, because I'm not exhibiting in contemporary galleries, so yeah.
Yeah, I mean, see, first of all, we have to understand that art critics are also human beings. They don't have any special status or any special attributes like horns or, they are very normal people, first of all. If they are like very highbrowistic and they are up in there with the nose up in there and all, I mean, you can avoid them. But only thing is that for what actually you need critical appreciation, that you have to ask yourself, first of all. Now, not exhibiting in a mainstream gallery is not a disqualification for any artist. Many artists have never exhibited in mainstream galleries. Maybe at a very later stage they get a chance to exhibit in the mainstream galleries. But critical appreciation, in the sense, like most of the people, artists, from my experience, I can say that most of the artists want to hear good things about them. First of all, they are human beings, so they want to get some soul satisfaction. So they want some good appreciation, like good words from the art critic. But then an art critic telling you only the good things may not take you, too far. So I think like you have to find someone. That doesn't mean that every person is going to say good things or every art critic is going to say bad things. There is another problem nowadays. Like everybody says, you put your works in the Insta, somebody will get Instagram, somebody will get noticed, somebody will notice, and they will give you a chance or they will appreciate your work. But I don't think like that is an unfiltered medium where you may be able to put your work across to people, but you don't get the right kind of feedback there. I don't think so. So make human contacts, human connections. Yeah, I mean, you have to talk to people, and also like you have to educate further, whoever it is. I mean, I'm not talking about you as a person, but you also have to make, in whichever experimental area you are working on, you have to study a bit deep, like who has done earlier. Some people, there is a saying, I'm not talking about you, I have to take this, anticipatory bail. Somebody was trying to find, to make an innovation. He did it in whichever way he, through trial and error method, he found out something, innovated something which actually functioned like a radio. So then you cannot be called the inventor of a radio, because radio is already there. So you make a performance or you do something with cutting edge material or cutting edge thought process, and somebody has already done. Only thing is that which you don't know. But so that is why this education is kind of autodidacticism we say, like you should educate yourself into whichever area you are working on,
and find out and figure out the best resources to.
Yeah. Before you approach anybody, I think like you should deal with yourself first, your
Thank you, sir.
Because critics don't have any answer. As human beings, they are equally confused. Because the other day I was doing a presentation on urban visuality. So some very senior art critics were there in the audience. They were looking at me as if like they were hearing this thing for the first time, you know, which I expected that they already know.
सर मैं मेरे पास ये क्वेश्चन तो नहीं है, मतलब एक जनरल चर्चा है, अगर आप इजाज़त दें तो वो ये कि जैसे कि ये क्वेश्चन क्योंकि बहुत सही क्वेश्चन था कि आर्टिस्ट है वो कैसे अप्रोच करेगा और कैसे, उसमें दो चीजें मैं कहना चाहूंगा कि इस वक्त इस टाइम पे हम हाइपोथेटिकली मान लेते हैं कि हमारे पास दिल्ली के सिनेरियो में 10 आर्ट क्रिटिक एक्टिव हैं, 20 मान लेते हैं, चलो वो सब अलग अलग जगह पे हैं, उनका कोई कांटेक्ट नंबर आर्टिस्ट के पास है नहीं, उनका एक फोरम होना चाहिए और एक ऐसा ईमेल हर आर्टिस्ट को पता होना चाहिए, एक इन जनरल वो अपना काम डिस्प्ले करने से पहले क्यों ना भेजे वहां पे, और उसकी एक फी होनी चाहिए ताकि ऐसा ना हो कि हर टाइम आर्टिस्ट काम पे काम भेजे जा रहा है और बेचारे जो आर्ट क्रिटिक है बस इसी काम में लगे, वो चीज नहीं, उसका एक प्रोसीजर होना चाहिए कि आपने पहले क्या किया है और क्या इस तरह से उसका एक प्रोफाइल होना चाहिए और उसकी एक फी होनी चाहिए ताकि हर बार जब उस फॉरम पे आप आर्ट वर्क भेजें तो उतना फी पे करना पड़े। तो और जब आर्टिस्ट को पॉजिटिव फीडबैक मिलने लगे कि हाँ अब तुम्हारा काम जो है हमें ठीक लग रहा है और किसी भी आर्ट क्रिटिक ने इस पे आपके एंटी कुछ नहीं बोला है, तो वो आर्टिस्ट तब एग्जिबिट करना शुरू करे। तो इससे क्या होगा, उसकी जो समाज में एक लार्जर लेवल पे आलोचना होने का जो डर है उसके मन में कि अगर किसी आर्ट क्रिटिक ने गलत लिख दिया और अखबार में छप गया तो उससे उभरना बड़ा मुश्किल होता है। मेरे को लगता है आर्टिस्ट बड़े सेंसिटिव होते हैं, तो आधे लोग तो डिप्रेशन में चले जाएंगे। तो इस पे आपका क्या ख्याल है, क्या ऐसा हो सकता है या नहीं हो सकता?
Yeah, actually you pinpointed on very extremely pivotal issue, you know. Why? Because even today in our country, despite we have this Delhi Collage Academy, National Gallery of Modern Art kind of agencies, we don't have a database on art historians, art critics, art writers in this country. We don't, I mean, this is from my memory. Actually, literally speaking, I didn't look at any Google or anywhere. All this data is collected from my memory only because I worked with them, I grew up with them. So now,
मुझे लगता है ये काम भगवान हमसे ही करवाएगा। आज मेरे को ऐसे ही एक आइडिया सोच ही रहा था कि व्हाट इज नेक्स्ट इस शो के बाद। मैं सोच रहा था कि अब नेक्स्ट क्या करूंगा मैं।
Delhi Collage Academy or National Gallery of Modern Art are not going to do anything. I think like it will collapse sooner than later. You Ashwani, you kind of people could actually create a database. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
एक लास्ट क्वेश्चन मेरा और है। आर्ट क्रिटिक को पे कौन करता है? आर्ट क्रिटिक को पे कौन करता है?
Yeah, this is a very good question. Art critic को actually galleries are supposed to pay. It is almost like a movies. If your movies are making money, you keep getting assignments from the galleries, so they will pay you. It all depends on the visibility, and it is very seasonal. Like I had my run during the boom time, I had my run, and maybe after that somebody else comes up and he or she has a run. But if you are working seriously in the field, everybody gets their own chances of getting some kind of a support, financial support from either from some of them are paid by the artist directly, some of them are paid by the galleries or agencies who were calls them. So as art critics, by writing alone perhaps you won't be able to standing the field. So you have to create, you have to kind of diversify your knowledge areas so that you can become a speaker, you can become a teacher, you can become a writer, you can become an author. So multiple personalities, to survive in this field. That's what I mean. Whether I am successful in doing that or not, but still I survive. Yeah.
थैंक यू सो मच सर, जॉनी एमएल सर, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। बहुत सारी नॉलेज मिली हम लोगों को। जोरदार तालियां चलती रहनी चाहिए जॉनी एमएल सर के लिए। और मैं चाहूंगा कि एक छोटा सा स्मृति चिन्ह इस जो भी ये प्रयास किया जा रहा है वो हम चाहेंगे कि आपके घर तक पहुंचे।